What's up guys, this is Wenzes. Welcome back to my channel. Today we're talking about codependent toxic relationships. Pretty much how to break the cycle. And the only thing I can tell you is what worked for me, what kind of system I realized was behind all of that, what kind of blocks and just kind of patterns brought me to that point. And you have to understand I'm in a relationship now, a healthy relationship for probably half a year, and that's the first time for the last 10 years. So I'm serious, like the majority of my 20s, I was single. Before that, I was in not the healthiest kind of relationship. The pattern was rather destructive and it lingered on. I tried to save it for a long time. There was a lot of love in it, but it was still not a healthy relationship. There was a lot of toxic dynamic in all of it, and it all comes down to me. What is the pattern that is always the same? Because like in the last 10 years, it's not like I haven't had crushes. It's not like I haven't had those one-sided intimacy situations that I talked so much about in the first videos. Those things happened and they had a huge impact on my life. And one of those situations was the last drop that got me into doing this channel and to creating a life on my terms. So I know that all of that plays into that. And all of those dynamics, all of those had toxic components to it, codependent components to it. And now for the first time, I have a relationship I've never had like that before. And if you would have asked me like say 10 years, even like 6-7 years ago, the kind of relationship I'm having now is not something I would have like looked into or wanted or even thought that it would be able to make me as happy as it does. Before we get started, I want to remind you to sign up for the free mini course on epic life creation and check out all the information on one-on-one coaching. The links are always in the description. And now let's get into the topic. So if you look at, let's say, current situations or situations you had in the past, what makes a relationship codependent? Like, why would that be a codependent toxic relationship? Well, if you're watching this video, then it's because it was something that didn't like bring you the biggest joys or caused you pain, or there was a lot of unrequited love. So let's look into it. For me, it was those typical things. First off, I was rather attracted to people that I couldn't have in my life. So it was more like I would insert myself into their life. I would be the person who would find the joy and everything that I was looking for in life within their world. Or that's at least what I thought, because in the end it wasn't. But I remember every time I thought about it, I thought, oh, these people have an interesting life, or they could have an interesting life. So I projected all of those things that I wanted those people to be, that I thought, oh, okay, well, there's so much potential in them and they don't see it. Through me, they would see it, and then they would become politicians. Like there was this one guy, I thought, oh, he would be such a great politician and could change the masses and do all of that. Realizing now, looking back, well, you know what? It's actually what I wanted to do. I'm actually an advocate for changing the world and doing things in a grand scale. And me, I'm the one talking to people. He, on the other hand, what he always wanted to do is just do music and be his own person and be actually less in the spotlight. But what do? You kind of project all of your wishes on that person. And it might not only be something that you say, well, that person has an interesting life. It could also be things like, well, I could save that person. That person doesn't see their own potential. They don't see what great things they could do in the world or how much they're valued. And I would be the one who would show them that. That in itself is also projection, because what you're doing, you're saying, my life is gonna have a meaning once I'm with that person. Once I'm with that person, because for example, in the last example, if you want to help people through the way you understand how their mind works, or through just having an open ear or whatever it is, that is your equivalent to having a meaningful life. And then you see somebody who you feel nobody's seeing them, nobody's hearing them, and I'm going to be the savior. Yeah, guess what? You kind of get into this codependent, toxic relationship, because that's what the relationship is really about. And if I think about it, all of my relationships had those kind of components. Maybe not from the beginning. It was like at some point I first thought, oh, that looks so exciting. Their life looks so exciting. Me putting myself into their life would be so great for me. And then I always thought, well, that's the only way it could work. This comes back to the way I had the relationship with my father when I was little, which was pretty much, he had back then specifically more of those narcissistic tendencies. So for me, it was like the only way I could get love is if I play a role in his life, as an extension of him. And a lot of people who get into those codependent toxic relationships, they had some kind of parent that had similar traits. Today, I have this amazing relationship with my father. I'm really, really grateful for it. And, it all plays together. It all plays together and all starts with you because you're the one who sets up that dynamic. So the reason why, let's say for the last 10 years, I didn't have a relationship is because I kind of realized what I didn't want anymore, but I was not actively going towards the things that in a relationship category that were important for me, like important enough for me. It was always steps, and I'm very grateful for everything. So for me, the thing that was necessary in the end to make all of those steps was for me to quit my job, for me to actually live the life I want to live, and then kind of say who would fit into that life. I really changed the entire vision I had of a relationship, and that was actually how things changed. In the meantime, I was interested in people who were not in a position where they could live a life that would be great for me. So it was either people who lived not in my country. It was people who were not that interested in me because, why? Well, mainly because I thought, well, I'm too strong for them or I'm too much. Now knowing that all of those things are just stories I was telling myself, but yes, I was interested in people who didn't find me as a suitable partner, because that way I was able to kind of relive this thing of, I want affection. I want it from a person who doesn't give it to me while I'm being myself. Because guess what? You were living the kind of dynamic you had in your past. So what I want you to do is to think about, if you're in similar situation, you say, well, I've never really had a healthy relationship that I thought was on good terms, and this was a thing that had a longevity to it that would actually help me be more of who I want to be. Then think about this. First off, what kind of things did you think that relationship would give you, the things in the past? Was it that you thought it would give your life meaning? If that's the case, not the right way to go. Seriously, that's how the codependent thing happens. Because in the end, if you're really in a position where you feel that would give my life meaning, there's such a dependency on this that you're willing, first off, to make compromises that also compromise your integrity. Second of all, you're gonna go for people who you feel are really in desperate need of you. And that's how this whole dynamic and toxic relationship comes together. So think about it. If your relationship, if you thought that's gonna give my life meaning, either through what you're gonna do for that person, for example, save them, then somebody would recognize once and for all what a good person you are. Those things have been in the past, or your current pattern, why you want to be with somebody, that's not the right way to go. Inserting yourself into their life would make your life fun and interesting, also not the right place to go, because in the end, it's you projecting the kind of world you want onto them. You're using them as an extension to do all of those things that you think you're not able to do. In the end, it's about two people looking into the direction of their life or their future or the life they want to create and standing shoulder to shoulder next to each other and looking in the same direction. It's not two people looking at each other and saying, you're my solution, you're my goal. That kind of thing is never healthy. It's not. And I realize now how much I projected onto people, how much I actually expected too much of them. You have these huge expectations of people, and if you're not really able and willing to see what you really want, you kind of project it onto people subconsciously. Remember this, we're not able to do this. So I've been working for, let's say last year or even the year before that, I was already working for 5-6 years. I was making 6 figures. I had my side hustle that now is my full business. And I was going for college students that were friends of my friends. Then, oh no, they didn't feel comfortable with me because I'm like this. Well, why in the world am I looking for people who can't give me what I want, what I actually want. It was because I wasn't even willing to look at, this is how I want my life and my future to be, and who makes sense in that life. It's not that I would neglect my life because it's too painful or too hard to look at it and then I could insert myself into their life. It wasn't that what I would do for that person would give my life meaning. I recognize all of those things I have to do outside of my relationship. And when I said like the last thing that really was the final straw, it was like 5 or 6 years ago, that really like shook me down to my core, which really forced me to look at all of those unhealthy dynamics I had built due to trying to fix something that happening when I was a child, and understanding, well, you're never gonna fix this. It did happen back then. You didn't get the kind of affection and love that you needed. That's just what it is. It's barely ever that all the things work out. And now I have to be my own adult, the own parent to my inner little girl, and take the steps to make all of that happen. So the moment I realized, first off, I want to help people, but I don't want to help people to such an extent that are that close to me. Because the people around you are supposed to be a support system. You being the support system for them, and them being the support system for you. So if you have relationships where you feel like you're the only one who brings support, and then you feel like, well, I want other people, how am I going to make other people give more? Well, it's not about other people giving more. It's about you giving less. And that does not mean that you have to start being mean or anything like that. It's just to understand, maybe you're putting too much of your energy into your closest relationships, and you kind of like creating this dynamic, when in the end you should be putting that kind of energy into creating your life and to creating a goal. If you want to help people in a certain kind of way, well, do it as I did it, as this channel, in a way of, in the beginning, this was maybe supposed to be a business 10 years from then. In the beginning, this was just me giving back, and me giving back with boundaries. And then I realized, well, what is it that I want from a relationship, from a healthy relationship? And in order to do that, I first had to like kind of say, well, this is where I want to go. This is who I want to be. For example, for me, it was clear, like while I was living my old work or my own life, the people that I would meet there weren't really the match for who I wanted to be, because I wanted to do what I do now and be flexible and be that kind of person. And then to say, well, what kind of things do I need in my life? First off, I need somebody who's not dependent on me. Somebody who has their own goals, somebody who's independent enough so they don't need me to save them. That was a huge difference. Before that, I was always attracted to people that kind of felt like, oh, they're not seeing their potential. And now I'm like, I want people who are my support system. I'm going to be a support system, but I want them to be a support system to me. I want to be somebody who's also being taken care of. It's not just me taking care of the other person. And then I recognize those are the things that I want that person to be. So I want somebody, as I said, to have all those qualities. So a lot of people that I met, like that I was subconsciously attracted to, I realized, well, this is just a dream, because the reality of it is those are not people that would kind of understand where I'm coming from, feel comfortable around me. So that was a huge shift. And then to understand, well, what are all those aspects that I've always been projecting onto them, like on the former relationships? As I said, saving people, or like you showing what they want, or you see like, oh, that's the person, that's the kind of life I want. If that's the kind of life you want, you do not want to be an extension of that person's life, because that's not going to fulfill your own thing. You can't put all of your projections, everything that you want the world, your life to be, to put it on that person, because it's just ask too much. The person will never ever be center of your life, because that person has their own agendas, their own wishes, their own way of seeing the world. So you have to put it out there, and you have to start creating it. That's why all of my stuff is about a holistic epic life. It's not just about the relationship. It's also about the vocation. It's also about the financial independence. It's also about like being physically in the best shape of your life through meditation, through working out, through eating, all of that. Because the more I was able to holistically create a life, the more I was actually able to see people for what they are, and to appreciate them for who they are and wanting them to appreciate me for who I am and not for what I do for them. I really hope that helped you. Let me know in the comments where you're at with this, and if this helps you, if you want to watch more videos on this. I want to remind you to sign up for the free mini course on epic life creation and check out everything on one-on-one coaching if you want to go deeper in it. I wish you all a wonderful day, and I'll talk to you next time. Bye.